All right, guys, hello and welcome back to the next episode of our Konnersport MyTeam career mode. Into episode 3, we have some owner tasks and stuff to go through before we head into the weekend in Japan. And I'm gonna go ahead and say now we have some mods installed. If you guys didn't see the description already, we have a color correction for the Racing Bull, and we have the white Red Bull for the 2025 season as the homage to the 2021 version, which looks really good. I don't know if I'm going to keep it in just for this race because I am using the search launcher for my mods, and it's actually a lot easier than I expected it to be. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into these owner tasks where we left off in the last episode. So let's go ahead and get right to it. Engineering facility, department event. We lose resource points, aerodynamic morale, okay, performance data. We're gonna save performance data because we haven't really done much for car parts, but we should be getting car parts coming in to the weekend. You can see beam wing and heavy heave dampers there on the 27th. Team owner fan rating has gone up. We're not level 2 yet. Performance comparison, we're 4th next to Mercedes and just behind Ferrari. What was that first message? Fantastic effort with the double podium that we had from the last race just by a chance because of that early safety car kind of mixing up the race strategies for other teams. So we're gonna go ahead and go through here. We have enough R&D points for another research item. We'll come back to this as we go to, I can just skip. Where's the new, is it in process or I don't know where it's marking the new item. Or is it's just because we have enough points? If you guys know if it's because of that, please let me know. It wants us to do more chassis, but we're gonna go ahead with Aero. Even though we have this one in development or research, 3 days to go for that one. That one is locked. I don't know what we need to get for that. But we're gonna go wheel rim covers. Detail. Rear wheels. Reducing overall drag, and that research will finish before the race. So we'll do that. And that should get rid of that marker. Yes, it will. Driver psychologists. Did we unlock these guys? In the talks, nothing happening yet. We're not going to show this. We're not going to do any driver talks on camera. So whenever that does happen, we will go ahead and skip it. Your workforce currently hiring. Facility improvements. I don't remember what. Oh, it's these guys. I don't know. Completed. Okay, there. That's what it was. Okay. All right, corporate title sponsor. We're not level 2 yet. We're getting all these, but I don't think it'll let us mess with the livery. Because it is Konnersport. But I don't plan on changing the livery anyways. So we'll just have to see. Facility improvements, we were already in here. And yeah, so it doesn't look like we have any driver talks this time around, so we're gonna go ahead and advance. Both of our parts coming in. Well, yep, both of our parts coming in for the race weekend.
According to plan.
Go to event. Exceptional IT staff. We have successfully recovered all the lost performance data for a recent server crash. Plus 500. We will take that. Rotor speed, development, research, sliding scale modifier, 115%. I guess we do need to work on chassis, but it doesn't look like we have that many parts available. I don't know. Giving us the monocog structure, so we might as well go for it. That'll be after the research will be after Bahrain, so after the next episode, and then hopefully we'll get them by Jeddah, but we'll have to wait and see. Maybe Miami, Aero. Which one do we want more, or is it just, oh, it's two of the same? We'll get that after Japan. Upgrades complete. I don't know if this means we have shouldn't we be able to have a spot where we can put things on the cars? Sign upgrades, that's where it is. Heave dampers. Who would it benefit more though? That's the question. Heave dampers, chassis. I guess the stats are the same. Who's lower rated? I forget. We'll just give the parts to whoever's lower rated. Yeah, Cali. We'll give the parts to Cali. Okay, those are already all the parts that we already have. Equip to Mayor. And there is our detail. Doesn't show any difference on the oh, it does the overall. Okay, still trying to understand these screens. Development, did I do that right? I didn't. Select. Okay, I did do that wrong, but I don't understand why. Okay, I see that now. That is on me. I'm still trying to understand how to run these screens. I'm not recording this as frequent as I should be, but we'll go with that. And rotor speed research, good. Wheel room covers,
hey, Chief.
good.
We've got multiple parts out of research. Don't forget to develop them. We've got performance sitting on the table that we could be getting into the car.
I don't know if it is a sprint weekend. It's a regular weekend. If we don't have a sprint weekend yet. Developments popping up again. Powertrain. That'll pop up before Jeddah. All right, and that goes into the race weekend. So we're gonna go ahead and knock out practice, make sure we get our setup and difficulty fine-tuned, and we'll see you guys for the race.
Welcome along to the legendary Sazuka. This classic racetrack boasts a long history dating right back to 1962 when it was first opened. Will more history be written here today at the Japanese Grand Prix? We're southwest of the city of Nagoya today at the unique figure-of-8 Sazuka circuit. 3.6 miles and 18 corners make up a lap here, with average speeds approaching 136 miles per hour. DRS will be available, of course, into the potential passing opportunity at turn 1, although the best place for overtaking will be through 130R and into the final chicane. So with the race not far away from starting, here's what today's grid rundown looks like. Max Verstappen put in a fantastic lap yesterday, and he'll start from pole position. And Lando Norris lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Jackson, Sainz, Callie Mayer and Hamilton, Piastri, Hülkenberg, Albon and Andrea Kimi Antonelli, Fernando Alonso, Ocon, Liam Lawson and Leclerc, Hadjar, Gasly, Gabriel Bortoleto and Jack Doohan, Stroll, Behrman, Russell and Yuki Tsunoda rounds off the grid. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. And alongside me today, former Formula One driver and former world champion too. See, told you I'll give you a big intro. Anthony Davidson, hello. Glorious Sazuka. It's a bit like Silverstone, an iconic track for which we couldn't have an F1 season without it. And so much for the drivers to think about around here.
Absolutely, Crofty. The only figure-of-8 circuit that we have on the calendar, and you kind of wonder, why don't we have more? Because it's such a good format. The drivers love this track. It's got a great flow to it, a fantastic circuit. Not the best for overtaking, but my goodness, from inside the car, it's a real treat for the drivers.
So the formation lap gets underway here in Japan. This circuit is one of the favourites amongst the drivers, and I'm sure each and every one of them is looking forward to the race ahead. All of them hoping they can leave Sazuka on a high note. So as all the cars reform the grid, the drivers will be hoping to get a strong start. They'll want to earn some valuable points from today's race, with final communications being done with their race engineers, ensuring the planned strategies are all in place.
All right, here we are having our drivers pulling up to their grid slots. You can see the white Red Bull, the homage to the 2021 livery, as we're seeing both Konnersports and a different angle here for the starting lineup. As our 5 red lights are coming on, Jackson starting in 3rd, Mayer starting in 5th. The lights are off, and we're off to an okay start. We have the better race start installed, so we're not too overpowered on gaining positions off the start. Verstappen holds the inside line, and Norris pushes his way through the second corner there, not the final corner. As we felt a lot more confident during this race weekend on the S curves than we have the last few games, 24, 23. I know it was really rough back in 22, but I'm feeling way more confident with the setup and going through the S curves, especially on the hard tires. As we also have, if you guys haven't noticed already, by the thumbnail and the track itself, we are using Venturi Studios realism mod. They're not sponsoring it. I'm still a part of Venturi, but it's not a big deal. I'm using it for my own series. I'm not really doing anything behind the scenes with them other than a few graphic stuff here and there, but we're on board with Max Verstappen coming through to start of Sector 3, already building that gap to about 9/10 ahead of Norris. Jackson 1.8 behind Norris. Sainz trying to put pressure on Jackson, and Hamilton's right there on the inside of Sainz, actually making a move for that position through 130R, which is a very strong move, especially if you're close enough to the car in front of you. As we start moving our way down the grid, Piastri behind Mayer, and then Hülkenberg and Kick Sauber in P8 ahead of Antonelli and an Albon to round out our top 10. You can see Tsunoda had a rough start. Russell had a rough start. Tsunoda had a penalty, I believe it was, on the lineup. As we have Alonso trying to catch up to Ocon. And you can see the little gaps forming on these timetables. Bortoletto back 1.2 behind Hadjar. We'll get to them here shortly as we're continuing on through the S's here in Sector 1 again on lap 2. The V-carb of Lawson there. Gasly behind. And we have a color correction on the V-carb. I'm not necessarily sure where that color correction is, but we are using one of those with the SERPs launcher. All that stuff's going to be linked in the description for you guys. That way you can check them out for yourself. A little iffy on the SERPs launcher, but I've managed to get it to work as we're finishing out the rest of our grid. Tsunoda back in P21 behind Behrman, and then Russell about 31 seconds. He had a rough start, not necessarily a yellow flag, but just had a rough start to start out the race. And lap 2, you see 3.1 seconds is the gap already from Norris to Jackson, as Hamilton's trying to put the pressure down on Jackson coming through the final chicane. And there's an incident where Sainz, I believe he locked up as we watch Hamilton overtake Jackson for P3. Sainz ended up locking up in the hairpin, or not the hairpin, the chicane. And I thought he originally went into the pits while going through recording the replay, but he just ended up losing a lot of those positions and stayed ahead of Russell. Lap 4 now. Jackson still trying to put pressure on Hamilton. He's 1.6 seconds clear of Jackson, and Piastri made the move on Mayer earlier in the lap, and now he's going to have DRS to make a move on Jackson. So both Konnersports losing out on positions here, as Hulkenberg is up to P7 in that Sauber. Antonelli up to P8, I believe because of the Sainz incident earlier, as Bortoletto and Hadjar are fighting for positions. You can just hear it in the car that I'm feeling way more confident, putting the pressure down a lot sooner than I'm used to. Lap 8 now, as we're getting ready to get into that pit window. P5, P6 for both Konnersport cars. 4.6 seconds is the gap between Jackson and Hamilton. Norris, Piastri following Verstappen for the top 3, and Leclerc, who we're on board with now, is going to be the first person to stop for a pit stop. I'm not sure if he had some tire wear from another vehicle or not, but that's seeming to be like a two-stop, as I thought it was a little bit weird. There's a little bit of a dip. You can see he dips down there, and I'm not sure if it'll show this in the angle. We'll have plenty more pit stops to look at it, but it just, the pit lane in the game isn't leveled, so there's a decline to it, and you'll see it probably here in the next pit stop, as we're still sitting P5. Verstappen is going to be coming into the pits. Norris, Piastri leading, and Hamilton also coming in. So it's going to be Verstappen, Hamilton. I'm not sure who else has come in. Ocon maybe, as we have a little bit of stuttering. That's a loading issue on the replay. That is not a system issue. So that is specifically the game. So it's going to be Hamilton, Verstappen, Hamilton, Ocon, and then Gasly, I believe, who went into the pit stops in that last iteration. And now we're up into P3. Has Jackson, Norris, Piastri leading. 10 seconds between Norris and Piastri, as Jackson's going to be coming around the final quarter for Verstappen to make the overtake. We're not really going to be able to fight there. Verstappen just way ahead of us. We are not going to be able to keep up. He's on fresher tires, and we are basically coming into our pit stop here at the end of lap 14. Mayer 2.7 seconds behind Jackson. Hamilton P6, Hulkenberg still holding on to P7. Antonelli P8, Leclerc P9, and Albon Albon now up to P10. With Sainz in the top 10 earlier, as we see Jackson coming around the corner. We're gonna get another look at the pit lane here. Maybe. I'm not sure if I did show the pit lane enough. There's a little bit more stuttering there. There we go. That's what we need. You can see the dip down. The pit boxes, you can see there on the right side. It's just a ladder, pretty much. It's the pit boxes are level, but the rest of the pit lane isn't. I'm not sure if that was intended. I haven't looked into it, but we'll just have to make do with it. As we come out of the pits behind Antonelli and Leclerc, it looks like Russell went into the pits as well behind us, as we're P9 on lap 15. Over halfway through this race, as we're coming through on our hot lap, you can see Mayer coming out of the pits from the timetable there on the left side. We're still trying to make a move on Leclerc and Antonelli, and we brake late on that first corner. Try to close up some of that ground, as we're still trying to catch up to them. Lap 17 now on board with Mayer, trying to make a move on Albon through 130R. It's not going to be quite enough. She backs off, and she's going to have to wait till after the chicane for that DRS down that main straight. Jackson still trying to close in on Antonelli. You can see the time less than 2/10 as he's trying to make a move up ahead. Antonelli's 2 seconds behind Leclerc. To see, I'm not sure what that kind of move was. The jerk of the steering wheel, and you see a little bit of a texturing issue, I guess, or I'm not sure what to call it with the car not loading in properly. But Jackson and Mayer P7, P8, as they are still both in contention for a decent amount of points for this race. Lap 19 now, Mayer on board, as Jackson is trying to put the pressure on Antonelli through the hairpin. Jackson switching over to the inside, trying to make a move. Still trying to find an opening there, and he's going to be making his move. I'm not sure what the name of these turns are, but he's going to be making a move on the inside without breaking him and getting that position. You can see the back end of Jackson's car trying to give out as we're trying to pull away from Antonelli. And that's just going to have Mayer try to take an opportunity to pass him as well, as Norris, Piastri, Verstappen so far for our top 3, and Hulkenberg surprisingly up into P4, as Antonelli is in P6. It is a very diverse top 10, as Antonelli dips into the pits, and Jackson and Mayer P5, P6 like they were earlier. About 8 laps to go, as we're coming to the end of lap 20 now. Mayer trying to make a move on Jackson, as 13 seconds is the gap between Verstappen and Hulkenberg. And I didn't think I'd be seeing a Sauber, a kick Sauber this high up in the standings for a single race, but we see him coming into the pits there, as Mayer's making that move, same move that Verstappen made on Jackson earlier in the race, as Norris leads Verstappen by 11.5, and Piastri holds on to P3. I've been trying to do this commentary without yawning, but we're coming to the end of the race. We are on board with Jackson, as Mayer is holding on to that same position, I believe P5. And there were some issues with the DRS not being able to be opened. So last possible chance here is to outbrake Callie Mayer to try to make that move out of that last final corner, coming out of the chicane, putting the pressure down as much as we can, and we cannot take that position from Callie Mayer.
Here's the checkered flag. The fans rise to their feet. It's Lando Norris for victory.
Well, they showed true grit out there today, Crofty. A steely determination not to be outdone by the rough circumstances. Many points that came their way today. A job well done. Not the easiest of days, but they walk away with a race victory.
There's room for 3 on their podium, but only ever 1 right at the top. Let the celebrations begin. He holds the trophy aloft, and why shouldn't he? A richly deserved win today for Lando Norris. Well, what an end to another fantastic weekend of racing. Thanks to everyone who joined us, and we'll see you for the next one.
All right, there we have it. The results for the Japanese Grand Prix. Callie Mayer passing Aiden Jackson there around the last pit stops. And we didn't have the pace. We had the opportunities to try to make an overtake on her, but we just didn't have the pace. As we finish in P5 as Aiden Jackson. Callie Mayer finishes in P4, basically switching positions. Even though we did start in 3rd place as Aiden Jackson. So that was that. Standings. Lando Norris leading against Max Verstappen. George Russell pushing up against Callie Mayer. They're tied at 39 points. And, Hamilton at 30. Jackson at 29. And then McLaren 80 points to Konnersport's 68. So they're increasing the gap on us, and then Red Bull is closing the gap on us as well, with Mercedes not too far behind, as well as Ferrari. So it's going to be a 5-way battle here at the start of the season, and it looks like McLaren's going to be increasing their gap more than likely, and then Red Bull is probably going to be passing us too, but we'll have to wait and see. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll see you guys in the next one.